He started out as a cop in New York, joined the U.S. Secret Service, elevated to the Presidential Protection Division under Presidents Bush and Obama. And then as a citizen candidate, something I know a bit about myself, he won the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate here in Maryland last year and is seeking a seat in Congress next year. His star is clearly on the rise. He's recognized as a powerful constitutional voice. You may well have heard him on his increasingly frequent appearances on Washington's premier talk station, WMAL. And he's going to speak to us this evening about a subject that is very current and hits at the very heart of the difference between our founding principles and progressive leftist principles, and that is, what else? Obamacare. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Bongino.
It started as a general conversation about health insurance, not health care. They're two very different things. Everybody has health care. May not be efficient, but you cannot be turned down in an emergency room. May not be the best delivery mode. I agree with you. It's surely not economical. But everybody in the United States has health care. We all agree on it. Not everybody has health insurance. So what started as a legitimate conversation about how to provide insurance to Americans who couldn't afford it turned into a very serious argument about who should control the healthcare system. Now, here's the catch. The left loves this. They love to change the conversation. They will tell you now that, oh, we're doing nothing but setting up exchanges so that private companies can get it. Well, Kevin Williamson has an incredible book out there. It's older. It's 4 or 5 years old, but he writes for National Review. So he's wonderful. And the book is called. It's meant to be a joke, the title, but the book is actually substantive. I think it's like An Idiot's Guide to Socialism or something like that. I picked it up as kind of a gag and started reading it. It was just an amazing. He just goes through this, how the new form of redistribution is not controlling the means of capital. That was traditional, what you would consider Marxism, socialism. We'll take all the factories. But it was foolish. It failed. You'd have to be an idiot to subscribe to that. It doesn't work. They gave the factories to the workers took the equipment and went home. The only thing that stopped them were the guns at the door. Force is always the last resort of redistributionists. There's no way to keep the people in the factory, right? They just take the stuff and leave. So Williamson argues, and in relationship to President Obama's exchanges, that why take over the insurance companies if you can just tax and regulate them to death? You already control their money stream. And by the regulatory regime that's restrictive and burdensome with red tape, you already control how they operate. You're effectively the CEO, whether you know it or not. And then, here's the nice little proviso built in there. When it fails, who gets the blame? The health insurance companies, not the government. Brilliant. It's the new redistribution. Nobody believes in that old stuff anymore. It was a brilliant plan. So what they did is they set up exchanges that effectively dismantled any competition. Your insurance company, yours, and yours. Okay, we're going to compete. I'm going to offer low cost, but I'm not going to offer these certain. No, you're going to offer what we tell you. You're going to have to pay 80% out at a minimum to coverage, only 20% administrative costs. Okay, that was like randomly pulled out of the air. What kind of number is that? It destroyed all the mini-meds. So now you have the same cost structure and you're offering the same product. Brilliant. How's that competition? I own your company. I just told you what you have to sell and at what cost. What do you own? And these dopey insurance companies played along like fools. Played along. The puppet master played them the whole time. Obamacare is the least of its problem is healthcare.gov. I would argue that healthcare.gov, the collapse of the Obamacare website, was the best thing that ever happened to them because nobody's seen the real cost yet. Do you know how bad this is going to be? Folks, the adverse selection going on right now, there is an absolutely catastrophic case of it going on with Obamacare. You know why? The only people that are logging on and staying on are the people who are the sickest, who really needed it. Do you know what the cost is going to be for them to be covered? It is going to be astronomical. It was only going to be offset by younger people at a minimum 2.7 million they needed. They have none. They have zip. They probably have less than 100. No one really knows. Conservative estimates are definitely less than probably 10,000. I would say they're probably closer to 100 or 200. The adverse selection here is going to cave this in. You cannot make 2 + 2 = 6. So again, just harping on my original case here. The conversations we're having now are very different conversations than we had even in the Carter administration and the Clinton administration. Listen, Bill Clinton only spent 20% of GDP. I'm not a Clinton fan, folks. I'm just giving you the facts. Bush spent about 23, 24 at the end. You can't say when Bush spent a lot of money, it was okay, but when Clinton spent less, it was terrible. Now, I disagree with just about every other policy, but if we're going to be real, principled conservatives that believe in something, we have to be willing to call an idea and lose the labels. That's what's killing us. We don't have the mainstream media to defend us. Don't ever assume that liberty is a golf game. You know, in a golf game, you're golfing out in the golf course. If it starts raining, you can just walk off the course. Nobody cares. The people you're with probably want to leave too. The guy got his money, right? The golf course owner, he doesn't care. Have a nice day. You can walk away, right? Everybody understands that. That's not liberty. And that's not the fight. Real liberty. This isn't a campaign slogan, folks. Your liberty is a very unusual thing. Liberty's a boxing match. When you stop punching and go, oh, I'm done, the other guy's still whooping your butt. He's going to kill you. Like he's going to keep hitting until you are no longer there. There is no I'm done. There's no mas for those Roberto Duran fans. There is no walking away. You don't get to be done. Because then you are not part of the problem. You're the problem. Because then everybody else has to pick up your slack. Well, you thought liberty was free? What do you think? This was some kind of gift bequeathed to us from generations of humanity? The history of humanity, folks, sorry to say, is rape, pillage, and plunder. This place at this time is unique. In the real sense of the word unique. We are unlike any other country or grouping of people in the history of humanity. You thought that was free? Oh, you thought because we're all relatively middle class and have flat screens, the fight's over? Maryland is ground zero. That's why I don't move. I get emails all the time. Move to Virginia. They love you up here in Virginia. No, I'm sorry. I like the tough fights. Because the tough fights are what do the most damage. It's a boxing match. Remember that. And just remember our history, too, folks. If you don't think this place is special and the hand of God hasn't touched this country, why do you think we're even here? You think we should have won that Revolutionary War? The greatest land army at that time in human history, a bunch of ragtags with no boots, nothing. We shouldn't have even won a battle. No less driven the Brits out of this. The story is incredible when you read it. Not to mention, they came back again in 1812, and if not for a couple bad storms, it may have turned out again. We won. We had a civil war that was devastating. Go up to Antietam if you doubt that. We survived that. We've been through 2 incredible world wars. We've been through a political loss in Vietnam. And not only that, we're still the most successful, prosperous collective group of people in the history of humanity with no close second.